it's Natalie at Custom Crops, and I am going to show you today how to make this easy holiday placemat out of burlap. So that's one major part of the project, is that you need to go to your local fabric store and just buy some burlap. It usually is very inexpensive. I think I got it for $1.99 or even $1 a yard. It's really a great way to make an economical table setting. You'll also need some of our Cricut stencil material, because I'm going to use that in order to cut out the snowflakes and use a little craft paint to paint it on the side here. And we'll also be using the Winter Woodlands cartridge. We're going to be cutting out some of the snowflakes that are on this cartridge, and just a really great and fun cartridge to have during this time of year. We have had countless projects in the last week or two where we've used this cartridge, so really a great addition to your Cricut cartridge collection. So let's get started with our first step. So we're going to start by cutting our burlap, and I originally measured the width and height of just a standard placemat I had at home. So this one ended up being 20 by about 14 and a half. Okay, so I've got my burlap fabric here. So one of the great things that I just recently learned was how to cut a straight line when you're working with burlap. So what you need to do, if you've got a measuring tape handy, that would be great. And I'm just going to measure, I've got 14 and a half, and I'm going to add maybe an inch. So I'm at 15 and a half, and I'm just going to make a cut, just like that. Then I'm going to pull a thread out from the fabric, and I'm going to start to pull it. And it's going to gather up, and you just pull it until you get all the way to the other end, and you pull it out. And what that should do here is maybe a little bit difficult to see on camera, but it gave me a straight line of where I should be cutting. So I'm going to just follow that line with my scissors. And then this measurement here needs to be 20. So again, I'm going to be using that same trick. And let's say 20 and a half, just because we want to have room to do the little frayed edges. And then again, I'm going to take this little fiber here and pull it okay, there, that's easier to see. See how it made that straight line for me to cut? And so then I'm just going to work with my scissors down that cut edge. And then if you want to fray the edges out a little bit, this is why I did a little bit extra. You can pull some of these little fibers out. This is a little messy, so if you are working on a counter where you can clean up all your fuzzies, that would be a great idea. You definitely do not want to be working with any glue projects or any of that in range, because they'll get all full of fuzzies. Okay. So you can see now I have a little frayed edge, which is really cute, and you can continue to pull the fibers off until you get enough fringe. And then the other thing that I'm going to be using, that you can get at your local hobby craft store, is called Fray Check. And what this is going to do when I put it on where my frayed edge is keep that frayed edge from going any further. And I think this says it takes about 30 minutes to dry. You definitely want to have something underneath where you're applying this, but I think it says on the bottle that you can remove any spots with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same exact thing to the other edge. but I want to measure first and see how much leeway I have. So I want it to be 14.5, or no, sorry, 20. Okay, and I've got a little bit of excess here. So I'm just going to make my cut. And you're going to pull that fiber. And just follow it all the way up to the top. And pull it out. And then cut along that edge. And then you want to fray the edge a little bit, just like the other side. And then we'll just scooch this over and we'll slide our Ranger craft mat under there and apply our fray check to this side. Okay, so we're just gonna let that dry, and while that's drying, we'll go over to our Cricut and cut out our snowflakes. So now we're ready to go ahead and cut out our snowflakes, and I will be using the Cricut stencil material. The Cricut stencil material comes in a really large sheet, and I've just cut it down because really you only need about a 6x6 square to cut your entire stencil out. I'm going to just cut out 3 snowflakes, and then you can use them in various patterns and going in and out in different shapes. So let's put this in action. I'm going to load my mat. The other important thing when you're using the Cricut stencil material is that you're using the deep cut blade, and also the Cricut stencil material has a sheet, a protector sheet on the back, and when you peel that off, it's the sticky side, and then this side has kind of a textury feel to it. So you want to put the liner side down, and that will stick to your mat better than this other side. Now the other thing that I would like to tell you is that I designed my first stencil with Design Studio, and that's just another reason that it would be great to have that. It really speaks to the ease of use with the Design Studio. Something like this would take me probably, you know, less than 3 minutes with the Design Studio, and with this it's going to take us just a tad bit longer, but you can still do it without the Design Studio. So I'm going to cut out first one of the smallest snowflakes, and if I open up my binder here, the snowflake that we used for all of the snowflakes was the one that's located on page 35, and you're going to be selecting the layers button. So we're going to hit layers, and then we're also going to have our real dial size on. We're also going to be having our multi-cut on. So let's hit our settings to see what we're at. We probably could get by with doing a multi-cut of 3. So let's do that. And our pressure, we're going to have high, and our speed at high. Okay.